Chairman HEC, if you may allow, sir. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale. Ohio gozaimasu, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, balli kare aaya. Hosh galden, anayo sayo, khuyamora, chivato, chihal jod, kalimera, khairutan, and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you to ICE 2025. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. So literally I gave it a try, I said good mornings and salutations and assalamu alaikum in 30 different languages, and yet I only got one answer back. So I would want to start on a high energy. Let me try again. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll be your host today. My name is Shahzad Hasan Khan, and with me joining
is Sadaf Ali Khan, and we shall be hosting today's exciting event. I'm thrilled to be here as we come together to explore opportunities and build connections and pave the way for groundbreaking ventures. Let's take a moment to recognize incredible talent, potential, and energy in this room with a round of applause. From ambitious startups to forward-thinking investors, every one of you is a vital part of the innovation journey. Let's make the event productive and a memorable one. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise in the honor of National Anthem of Pakistan.
And I will request you all, for all of those who remember, please recite it along us. Pakistan.
Now we would open the program with recitation of a few verses of the Holy Quran.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal 'ashr. Innal insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr.
Jazakallah, Sadaqallahul Azim. Distinguished guests, esteemed investors, industry leaders, visionary entrepreneurs, experts, panelists, vice chancellors, members of academia, and of course, brilliant startups. On behalf of the Higher Education Commission of Pakistan, it is our privilege to extend a warm welcome to each one of you to the Investor Connect event 2025. Your presence today underscores the importance of innovation, collaboration, and investment in shaping the future. A special welcome to our distinguished guest traveled from abroad to be part of this exciting gathering. A very warm welcome to Pakistan. Aligned with the vision of Government of Pakistan, HEC is committed to contribute to the national economy through innovation by supporting startups to foster a robust network of small and medium enterprises. The last 15 years journey for developing startups ecosystem HEC flagship initiatives include establishment of BICs, Business Incubation Centers, for nurturing young startups to transform their innovative ideas into commercially viable businesses. Or ICs, Office of Research, Innovation and Commercialization in the universities, and interventions like Innovator Seed Fund, among a range of other programs to provide the platform to connect the budding startups with investors and venture capitalists. HEC has organized ICE 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored that Professor Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed, Chairman HEC, has joined us. Dr. Ahmed is one of the pioneer members of HEC and presently serving as Chairman HEC. He has also held the position of Deputy Director General, Islamic World Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization in Rabat, Morocco for over 2 years. Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed holds extensive experience spanning over 35 years in educational policy, development, leadership and management at national and international level. In recognition of his extraordinary services, Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed has been awarded with Hilal-e-Imtiaz and Sitara-e-Imtiaz as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, to kick off the ICE 2025, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed, Chairman HEC, for his welcome address. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished guests, dignitaries, experts, industry colleagues from the government sector, Honorable Vice Chancellor, HEC team, our Executive Director, World Bank team, Brother Raji is sitting here, Inga and colleagues. We do have representation from different chambers, Pakistan Software Board also, from SCCP, from Engineering Council, and you name it. But most important, those investors who are here to showcase or pitch their ideas with the almost 150 investors coming from Pakistan and abroad, they are participating today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that today is not Monday, basically. I think today is Tuesday, because mostly on Monday or Friday evening, people are little easygoing and they don't push a lot of energy there, and that is why this gentleman was trying to wake up us, that we should clap more, we should talk easily. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored, we are delighted to have you all here today, especially our academia leader, our member industry, from business community. Because the ultimate goal of any education system, higher education system, is that how the ecosystem in a country is working, and how this academia, industry, and of course society, and of course the government, they work together for the socio-economic development of the country. HEC is trying its level best under a difficult time, in a good time, and luckily today we have the pioneer, our almost founder, I should say, Dr. Suhail Naqvi, who was the executive director in HEC in beginning. So I think Minister Saab is here. So Naqvi Saab, you and me, we can still be on back bunching. So let me welcome our honorable minister. बैठे ने इधर ही कोई बात नहीं, उनको बिठा लेते हैं. इधर आ जाए दरमियान में. So this happened in Pakistan. Sometime you are not sure what will happen. Next time it happened. So welcome in Pakistan. Because I was informed that Minister Saab got busy, the Prime Minister has invited him, so he was almost in his car coming here, then he has to go back, and I'm happy and I'm listening that he is joining us. चलें उससे पहले मैं आपको एक वाकया अपनी उर्दू में बता दूं, just for the how did I learn the entrepreneurship. I always narrate this story whenever I go for the such type of conferences. When I was a kid, I'm from a small town here. I always narrated this story many times. We used to go to school, and that time there was no these type of gadgets available, no mobile phone, no iPhone, no cars, no, and people used to just take those books and go to school. And in morning time, mostly the elder people, they were sitting outside their houses watching who is going to school, who is not going. They were these cameras, security cameras, they were acting as security camera, watching who is coming in this area who is going out of this area. So we used to go school together, 5, 6 age group people. And there was a very old person, 6 feet tall, from India, migrated from Punjab area. And he used to ask us, oh, where are you going, kids? So we always tell him, Babaji, we are going to school. And he says, okay, mashallah, work hard. And we used to tell Babaji, pray for us that we should get successful in school system and get a job. And believe me, Babaji, every time he laughed on this, whatever we were saying. And he said, in Punjabi first I will narrate, then I will tell you, translate in English. He said, Put Rab tu nokari na mang, nokar mang. He always used to tell us, okay, don't ask God to give you job, but ask him to help you to create jobs for other people. So that was the lesson. I never thought it was a big lesson I should have understood. But when I was in California for my education, the first time I went for my PhD in science, but one of the dean in business school, she asked me to start business education also there, so I started. The first lecture was on this topic by the marketing professor, the entrepreneurship. And when he started narrating the philosophy of entrepreneurship and what is entrepreneurship, and I said, yaar, ye to main चौथी जमात में या तीसरी जमात में बाबा निज़ाम से पढ़ के आया हूँ. The point is that this entrepreneurship, especially these days in a country like Pakistan, we have no other option but to focus on these things. Because we cannot, of course, with industry, unless we will do some innovation in our industry, in normal routine textile industry or agriculture industry, we cannot compete the big giant next door to us, China. Because due to so many reasons, the input cost, the labor cost, the energy cost, and there is a huge difference, and its competition in the world is, we have a minimal chances there, unless, again, as I said, the options are there. So only option left with us is the service industry. Or this innovation, which our, mashallah, our young people in Pakistan, they are doing it and making us proud. हाँ जी, आ रहे हैं कि नहीं? Chalo, we will continue. Naqvi Sahab, you stay there, but you will be coming here. Okay? Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome in Pakistan. Sometime we are sure that something is happening, and next day it is not happening. But day after that, suddenly it happened. So we'll keep our finger crossed if Minister Sahab can make it. Ladies and gentlemen, we started in 2002 and tried to create through HEC, Government of Pakistan, with investment by Government of Pakistan, that we focus on creating an ecosystem in Pakistan where our university should play a pivotal role in the socio-economic development of the country. So whether it was IT intervention, whether it was the standardization, whether it was the quality assurance, whether it is the curriculum updating, whether it was academia industry collaboration. So a lot of things are happening, and mashallah, under the leadership of our founder, chairman was Dr. Ataur Rahman, of course, and Dr. Akram Sheikh Sahab came as initially the executive director, but later on Dr. Sohail Naqvi took over. And I always, not because he's sitting here, I always praise him in front of all people, that whatever we have achieved, the main architect was Sohail Naqvi Sahab. Dr. Ata was bringing ideas, but the architect was Sohail Naqvi, and mashallah, whatever we achieved, credit goes to him also. And of course, the teamwork in HEC, our people from beginning, we were lucky that we got good people around us, and we delivered, alhamdulillah, in Pakistan. Today, we are very proud that in higher education sector, at least in numbers, we have done wonders. We have addressed the issue of equity, access, equity especially, almost there, 48 to 52% female and male folks there in Pakistan. And I think this is the first transformation happened, especially addressing the equity in anywhere in the world in Pakistan in the last 20 years. So this is a big achievement we shall all recognize. So meanwhile, we understood that the population we have, more than 150 million Pakistan young people, no government, no industry can create jobs for them unless they do something else. So we started focusing, first initially it was a long journey of bringing industry and academia together on one table, because both were talking different language, both kind of priorities were different, but ultimately I think both parties are tied to understood, and they are understanding now what need to be done together. So we encourage our young people to focus on creation of job and go for innovation, go for kind of entrepreneurship. And we made it compulsory for every subject and every, like in agriculture, in medicine, in food, IT, computer science, business, you name it. Everywhere we included the one complete subject for the entrepreneurship type of thing. And we started giving incentive to our young people, whether it was investor, sport fund, whether it was the making your dream into reality from the Prime Minister of Pakistan, whether it was some other kind of challenge funds available, maybe a small amount, but we started creating this ecosystem in Pakistan. And I'm very pleased to report that our young people are making us proud. They are full of potential, basically, in Pakistan. And I can see, mashallah, our keynote speakers are sitting here, other people from Pakistan, expatriate Pakistani coming from abroad. They're also from this soil, basically. So they see how much potential they have. The sooner they got the opportunity, they got the potential. Of course, this is their hard work also, and they are making Pakistan proud of giving good work in the international level, especially in international market. So that is the potential our young people have. Unless we invest on them, unless we give them opportunity, unless we give them the chance, I think it will be very difficult to sustain this thing. So that is what we are doing in humble way. Our universities, our vice chancellor, our academia, our faculty members, our government side also from different provinces and federal level also. So, mashallah, our young people are doing a lot of good work. We have created business incubation center in our most of the universities in Pakistan. We have also created, giving them opportunity that they should show their whatever dream they are looking, so that they should become, take their dream into reality. We have also provided them state-of-the-art facility, ICT facility, IT facility, so that they don't have to have an excuse that we don't have the resources. Universities have created small venture funds also, few top universities in Pakistan. They are doing the hand-holding for them, and mashallah, our young people are there doing multi-million now kind of business in this different initiatives, different ideas. We also created an opportunity that I can tell you the Microsoft is every year they're offering the Image Cup competition around the world. And luckily in the last 2 years, Pakistan is always in that victory stand. Sometimes second position, sometimes third, globally basically. Similarly, the Huawei competition, our teams from last couple of years, especially ICT competition, they are on the victory stand. Same thing is true, I always quote and share with my audience that the European Union is offering the global scholarship, competitive-based scholarship scheme, and every year, last 3 years consecutively, and by the way, nothing to do with my last 3-year job here. It was a work done by the previous people in our industry, our academia, that last 3 consecutive years, Pakistan is #1 country winning the maximum scholarship globally in European Union under European Union Erasmus Plus scholarship scheme. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready. Today's event is basically to give confidence to our young people, to our investors, and also to give confidence to the industry that, look, of course, the world is full of opportunities, everything is here, but you start from home also, you have opportunity here also. And this will give, I know this will go a long way, because this will give a confidence to our academia, our students who are working in these type of projects, our researcher, our HEC team also, who is working day and night to facilitate our young people to our academia, our university, so that they should come forward and create opportunity for Pakistan. With these thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, apologize that we have to wait because Minister Saab was supposed to be here, but due to urgent cabinet meeting, I think he has to be asked to come back. So hopefully, maybe we'll see if he can join us in closing today. But thank you very much for everybody coming, and thank you, Naji Saab, for your help. Our academia people, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, they are always supportive. Especially the guest investor who came from abroad, thank you for coming and giving believing on us and believing on our young people that they have the potential. And inshallah, we'll keep on striving hard to create Pakistan proud of us. At the end, I want to put appreciation, and I will also request you to clap for Nushaba and her team. This was a wonderful, this is a wonderful show they are putting. And this young lady is another innovator in this field in HEC. She is running around all the time, talking with people, bringing people here. And even last night she was awake again that one of the participants, she couldn't make it. We changed her ticket 2 times, but suddenly we find out that she don't have the visa for Pakistan. So that is I know this type of arranging conferences are difficult. Shaba, well done to you and your team and everybody who supported them. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Let's work together for a, mashallah, future Pakistan, inshallah, and future opportunity for our young people. Pakistan Zindabad. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed, for setting the stage through sharing HEC's flagship programs for developing the ecosystem like BICs, ORICs, and interventions like ISF. He mentioned that HEC is committed to contribute towards the national economy. He also said that if we can bring a change in someone's life, that truly matters. And he also mentioned the young generation of Pakistan, which is making us proud with each and every passing day. He also said that today's event is to give confidence to young people and to the industries as well. And now we are going to move forward. Advancing today's program further, it is important to enlighten the audience with the HEC's and R&D's initiatives. We have a documentary which would offer an overview of HEC journey, full of efforts for developing the startups and entrepreneurship ecosystem. Let's watch this informative documentary.
Wonderful. Let's go. Let's take a look.
The economic challenges faced by Pakistan this year have been substantial, with a sharp contraction of 0.2% in GDP. Factors such as floods, import restrictions, political uncertainty, and escalating commodity prices have exacerbated the situation. Despite these challenges, Pakistan has shown remarkable progress in innovation, outperforming expectations for its level of development. According to the World Intellectual Property Organization, Pakistan jumped more than 20 places in Global Innovation Index 2023 and ranked 88th among 132 economies. In the face of Pakistan's economic challenges, the Innovator Seed Fund program and entrepreneurial ecosystem of HEC have emerged as crucial lifelines.
Creation of so many jobs is not possible. So what are the options left for us? I think the option left is that we should go for job creation rather than job. We have to push this entrepreneurship approach, and that is why we created this coursework basically of entrepreneurship essential. First time in public sector it was initiated that we should handhold them, give them some resources, give them some encouragement that they should at least start digging out, get some result, and based on these things, in future they can do a bigger kind of projects. And we gave them the opportunity that they should convert their dreams into reality.
By providing vital financial support, mentorship, and guidance, HEC's program empowers young entrepreneurs to navigate adversity and transform innovative ideas into tangible solutions.
ISF is a flagship program of the Higher Education Commission. HEC established an incubation center, created the space for these incubation centers to become more beneficial and more active in the entrepreneurial ecosystem of Pakistan.
This initiative not only fosters resilience, but also ignites a ripple effect of economic growth, propelling Pakistan towards a brighter future, fueled by innovation and entrepreneurship.
Engagement of the youth is very much important. We can't provide employment to every youth. However, the opportunity can be through the different startups. So now when BICs are there, trained human resources is there and youth is there, now they can directly impact the youth. So once they directly impact the youth, they can create startups. These BICs within next few years can generate different spin-off.
For this purpose, the HEC aims at motivating and facilitating the higher education institutions to make research a top priority for a sustainable economic growth and future knowledge economy. A center is established in universities to serve as a pivot point and an umbrella for all the research activities, including the development of research proposal to the commercialization of the research products.
ISF program, I believe, is one of the most needed programs of this industry at the moment, which provides funds to early stage startups. और इंशाल्लाह इस तरह की चीज़ें और आती रहीं तो पाकिस्तान के startups can grow with ease of mind and उनको एक फिक्र नहीं होगी कि अब आगे के साथ जाना है. They can concentrate on their core values rather than bootstrapping just to survive.
In first cycle of ISF, 15 promising early-stage startups received funding and support services to transform their ideas into investable ventures. Second cycle saw 28 startups receiving funding, marking a significant expansion of the program's impact.
हमारे जो स्टार्टअप ISF के प्लेटफॉर्म से जिनको फंडिंग मिली, हमने बहुत एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी जनरेट की है.
ISF की ग्रांट ने हम जैसे स्टार्टअप्स को एक अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड की और इवेंचुअली हम VC की तरफ जाएं जहां पे हमारी एक स्टैंडिंग खड़ी होगी और हम सीड लेवल पे मौजूद होंगे, नॉट दैट हम एक प्री सीड लेवल पे होंगे.
Notably, a significant proportion of grants were awarded to startups with female founders, aligning with the project's strategic objectives of promoting women empowerment in entrepreneurship.
The ISF grant will enable us to take our business to the next level. As being predominantly bootstrapped for the last 2 years, we have won a couple of smaller grants, but this grant will enable us to give us the entire support that we need financially, increase our access to market, as well as develop our technology, which will enable both our buyers and sellers to have a more seamless experience across our platform.
At the heart of this innovation ecosystem are the founders of 43 startups, incubated in 38 centers and supported by 90 ORIC offices across Pakistan. These centers were equipped with state-of-the-art facilities necessary for startups to grow and innovate. For that, these BICs had the host of opportunities and facilities to offer to the early-stage ventures, startups, and founders, including the co-working space, dedicated incubation program, access to labs, mentoring, hand-holding, protecting the intellectual property, and a holistic support to the ecosystem. The HEC's Business Incubation Centers works perfectly as a springboard for early-stage businesses and startups. The story of founders of 43 startups incubated at these centers must be told as it is inspiring.
सबसे जो बड़ा मसला है खासतौर पर बलूचिस्तान में यहाँ रिसोर्सेज की कमी है. बिग में जब हम गए तो उसमें हमें जो है ना बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट के हवाले से सपोर्ट किया, हमें ट्रेनिंग्स दी और हमारे जो मेंटर्स थे उनके साथ हमें कनेक्ट कराया, जो डिफरेंट सेल्स मार्केटिंग के, और इन लोगों से हमें काफ़ी अच्छी इनपुट्स और एडवाइस मिली कि हम किस तरह अपनी कंपनी में ग्रोथ कर सकते हैं.
It is filled with challenges and risks, which are followed by victories and triumphs, making them unique and inspiring. Hailing from Pakistan's far and wide corners, these founders have their journey of entrepreneurship, which inspires Pakistan's growth on a local and global level.
हम एक एजीटेक कंपनी है जो कि ये मॉडल्स बना के बेचती है या उसके थ्रू सर्विस देती है, तो ये सर्विसेज हम पूरी दुनिया में पाकिस्तान से बैठ के दे सकते हैं. हमने डच मार्केट को एक्सप्लोर किया, हमने ऑस्ट्रेलियन मार्केट को एक्सप्लोर किया और हमारे पास हमारे क्लाइंट्स के लेटर्स और ईमेल्स मौजूद हैं कि आपके प्रोडक्ट ने यहाँ पे 96% परफॉर्मेंस दी है, यहाँ पे 98% परफॉर्मेंस दी है. तो ये बिजनेस एक्सपेंशन अगर हम बाहर ले जाएं तो वी बिलीव कि ये एक बहुत अच्छा वर्टिकल और डायमेंशन हमारे स्टार्टअप के लिए क्रिएट हो सकता है.
21st century demanded from its principal investigators and research scholars. What we needed was research which will have impact on socio-economic activities of the nation and produce those kinds of activities through which our economy will be transformed. And that is the genesis of ISF grant.
These startups are not just building businesses. They're addressing critical issues and contributing to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 13. From agriculture and healthcare to climate change and governance, their impact is far-reaching and profound.
The support provided by ISF to the business incubation centers, they provided us with the training, they built the capacity of the BIC management, as well they supported the startups. And with this, they also provided us with the champions. With their support, we are promoting the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship.
As Pakistan continues to navigate economic challenges, its entrepreneurial spirit remains unwavering. With support from initiatives like the Innovator Seed Fund, the country's young innovators are poised to lead the charge towards a brighter future for all.
ISF is a game changer for our startup ecosystem.
And we at HEC are committed
to support innovation for economic development
of Pakistan.
Empowering youth, building Pakistan.
What a fabulous documentary, and certainly if we are to speak about this documentary, which highlights how even because of the adversities in the country, Pakistan have actually jumped 20 spaces because of the innovation, and certainly is because of the ISF grant as well. So I think a big round of applause for all of those people who have been at the helm of affairs as well, so that socio-economic activity is being generated. I think I'm very happy about it, and I'm all smiles because Chairman Sahab himself has been on my morning show multiple times, and I've always asked him, sir, ever since we were growing up, everybody used to tell us, Putter, pass nahi hoega, the naukri nahi labegi. I think that, it has been the same ever since, even though we might not even have that generational gap. But for our children to think now that, alhamdulillah, that they can do something of their own, and they certainly do not have to go to or run to their parents to ask for that venture capital that we all require. Thank you so much, HEC, for doing this for Pakistan. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. But while we are at it now, I think to kind of proceed further, ICE 25 provides a platform where ideas meet opportunities. Throughout the journey of ICE 25, we would witness the incredible potential of innovation and entrepreneurship. HEC Pakistan initiated the Higher Education Development in Pakistan program with the support of World Bank that focused on research and development, improving the quality of higher education institutions, leveraging technological resources and capacity building. One of the components of HEDP was to support research excellence in strategic sectors of the economy, through which HEC launched the Innovator Seed Fund, ISF, program and awarded seed funding to 43 promising startups, as we mentioned in the documentary as well. This platform and the achievements of the startups and budding entrepreneurs would have not been possible without the steadfast support and partnership of the World Bank. Well, certainly we need to give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Their commitment to fostering innovation and empowering startups remains instrumental in driving this initiative.
Exactly, and we're joined by our distinguished guest, His Excellency Mr. Najib bin Hassan, Country Director of World Bank to Pakistan. I would like to invite Mr. Najib bin Hassan, Country Director, World Bank to Pakistan, to share his views with the audience. Sir, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. Very, very happy to be here. Honorable Chairman of the HEC, Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed, Honorable Executive Director of HEC, Dr. Zia Abdul Qayyum, Vice-Chancellors, Professors, entrepreneurs, students, partners, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for inviting me to address you today on this important gathering. I think I'm very proud that we've been able to contribute through the HEDP project. And I'd like to thank the whole team, the project director, my colleague Inga, and everyone who made this project, and Chairman in particular, who made this project a success. And I'm very proud that one component of this project focused on supporting this networking, this linking of innovation entrepreneurs with the actual market. And today, visited some of the stands, and I'll visit others later, is an excellent networking platform for Pakistan's young entrepreneurs and investors. And I won't repeat the words of the chairman or what we heard in this video on the potential of Pakistan and how much it has improved. Actually, I didn't know that, and they improved in the ranking, in the IPO ranking, and the potential is absolutely huge. And I think initiatives like this one, solving market failures, to speak as an economist, to finance incubation, support entrepreneurs with grants in this early stage, but linking them with the private sector and with the market, to make sure that their innovation responds to an actual need and that will be commercial, is excellent, and is actually much better than some of the programs I've seen in other countries. And I mean, you all know that Pakistan is going through difficult economic times, and the ongoing program of reforms that is starting to bear fruits through stabilization, including and not least with reduced inflation, stabilization of the macroeconomy, is at a turning point, because what we all want out of stabilization is for growth to pick up, and to pick up in a sustainable manner, not through public spending and consumption, but to pick up through productivity growth. And productivity growth, including for exports, will come in part through the segment of innovation and entrepreneurs. So the group of entrepreneurs that are present today, but much broader in Pakistan, of course, can play a key role to make sure that the response to these reforms and what follows this difficult stabilization but necessary stabilization episodes translates into investments, translates into jobs, translates into exports. It will come from existing firms, it will come from large firms, but it will come from new companies in new sectors which have high potential. We've learned throughout economic history of the past decades, the core of sustainable growth accelerations did not come from existing companies and sectors, but came from new companies. And new companies start somewhere, they start with entrepreneurship. So really what's being built today through this program and the networking today are the seeds, the seeds of future sustainable growth and investment of Pakistan. So it's really absolutely essential and absolutely timely to see such initiative thrive in the country. Today's Investors Connect event is indeed an opportunity to enhance this economic vitality by supporting the young entrepreneurs of Pakistan. I've met a few of them in diverse sectors like agri-tech, health, robotics, and what's common among them, which impressed me, I met only 3 or 4, but I'll meet more later, is that they're thinking market, they're thinking sales. Some already have clients, others, because they're building their systems, like an AI system for radiology, they're already in touch with hospitals and radiologists who may be interested in this system. I mean, this link very early in the innovation stages is essential, and I was very impressed by the few that I've met, and it's very promising. I'm really glad that the World Bank project, the HEDP, Higher Education Development Project, was able to contribute to an environment in which young entrepreneurs are matched with investors and are able to incubate their ideas towards a commercially viable and impactful venture. And the HEC, through this project, fostered the entrepreneurial ecosystem of the country by strengthening not only the capacity of the incubation centers in the universities, some of them, including the vice chancellors, are present here, across the country, but also on the other side supporting seed funding for entrepreneurs and supporting their training and capacity building in these incubation centers, I understand, for a year. So I'm heartened to see also that these investments are in socially responsible sectors like agri-tech, but also health. And maybe I would like to conclude by addressing the entrepreneurs themselves and wishing them good luck, asking them not to give up, even if their one venture fails, try a second one. I'd like to give one bad example, and that's myself. I started my company in a very small company. We were 10 of us. It's a long time ago. They were not called startups at all at that time. And it was a bit slow at the start, and I switched and went back to academia and became an economist. That company is called Murex, is now the world leader in its segment, which is mathematical models for financial instruments. So do not follow, I'm speaking to the entrepreneurs and students, do not follow my example, don't give up. And if your startup doesn't work once, started with another idea. I'm sure you have many ideas out there. Do not give up and believe in yourself and in your future. So I would like to end by reiterating the World Bank resolve in supporting the government of Pakistan, both at the federal and provincial levels, in addressing the core development challenges of the country, including in the space of economic development, particularly by focusing going forward on foundational learning and secondary education to prepare young adults and children to join the higher education system and bring the entrepreneurial spirit of this country to fruit to achieve its high potential. Thank you very much, and good luck to all.
Thank you for sharing invaluable views with the distinguished audience. Mr. Najman Hassan said that Pakistan has a good potential. He also wished entrepreneurs a very good luck, and he said no matter how you start, what matters is this, where you reach at the end. So don't give up. This is actually a very important message that he gave.
Thank you so much, Mr. Najman Hassan, as well. But while navigating through the program, a more focused way, we got to move on to our keynote, ladies and gentlemen, and Pakistan landscape, opportunities and challenges. We are proudly joined by Dr. Naveed Sherwani from the United States of America. Dr. Sherwani is the CEO of Rapid Silicon, a leading FPGA company. He's also serving on multiple boards and is advisor to several companies. Prior to this, he served as CEO of multiple companies, including Sci-Fi, Star5, Leap5, and has been the chair of RISC5. You also founded several companies like Peer Nova and Open Silicon. I'm excited to invite our distinguished guest for the keynote to share his knowledge and experience on the current opportunities and challenges surrounding the startup ecosystem in Pakistan in comparison to global best practices. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear up for Dr. Sherwani. Sir, please join us.
Sir, please come on the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us.
Al.
No problem.
Okay. So how do I set up my slides?
Yeah, however you feel. Okay, slides.
I think this is for us. Well, you figure out the slides. How's that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what I want to talk about is four things. First of all, I want to thank the chairman, HEC, for inviting me. It's a great honor for me. And being surrounded by Jahara, Anwar Bhai, Sohail Bhai, a lot of people. I think Abu Bakr Sahab has just joined as well. And I think I want to talk about four things. One thing I wanted to start by a challenge, that as we have done these things around the world, I've been part of developing several ecosystems. So the question is, how do we take the entrepreneur system today to the next level. So I'll talk about that first. Then I'll talk about what does it take to build an ecosystem, right? And third, I will talk about some of the new trends that at least in Silicon Valley, we are wondering about and trying to intercept them. And last, I'll talk about what are we doing between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, in particular with the semiconductor program, but also in general about IT. So let me start with a challenge. So the question is, around the world, not just the universities in Pakistan, this is true in Berkeley, this is true in Stanford, true in everywhere. And these are the universities which create a lot of startups, right? So the question is, how do we go to the next level? So let me paint a picture for you. Let's imagine you're taking a class, right? And the time is for assessment, the end of the class. The teacher never tells you, when is the exam date. The teacher even doesn't tell you what problems you have to solve, right? And it doesn't tell you anything about the grading system at all. So then what happens? The first guy guesses the problem, brings it to the teacher, and teacher says, yes, I'll give you 100 points. The next student brings similar solution, but he gets only 50 points. The third one who brings the solution gets 0 points. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th student got no points, although they had the solution. 13th student brings a better solution than number 1. So the teacher says, I'm going to give you 100 points. The first guy who got 100 points is going to be now 50 points. The second guy is going to be 0. If we introduce this system in your universities, what do you think will happen? A mass rebellion, correct? Guess this is how the real world works. So what are we teaching in our universities? Not just Pakistani universities. Universities all over the world, we teach a concept called fixed effort, fixed reward. If you have 3 hours, 10 problems, no matter in which order you solve the problems, no matter who does it before or after, if you solve the 10 problem, you get 100 points. Okay, how do I change? Okay, I'll just say that. Okay, good. Okay, so I think if we want to produce real entrepreneurs, we will have to change our teaching system. We have to change our assessment system. I'll give you another example. Most of the students we teach are mostly like engineering background. So they're told something called Newtonian physics. What does the Newtonian physics say? It says, if you push, things move, correct? But in real life, they don't. In real life, if you try selling 100 things, what do you sell? 10. So what happened to the 90? You see, so we have to teach our students that this Newtonian idea that if you put your effort into a project does not always end up solving the problem, because in sales, you get 10% of whatever you're trying to do. And a guy who can do 10% sales is actually a very successful salesperson. So how should a salesperson understand its success? Should he say that I sold 10 out of 100, so I'm 90% unsuccessful? Or should he say, I'm selling 10 out of 100, this is the best salesperson can do. I am one of the best salesperson. You see, the success metric has changed. 10 out of 100 is great success. Let's move to fundraising. In fundraising, it is even more ridiculous. You pitch to 100 people, you probably get 1 or 2 funding from 2 people. So 2 out of 100. What is it? 98% failure? No entrepreneur will ever tell you that. You know, I got the money. How many times you present? Who cares? You see what I'm saying? We have to teach our students a different way of assessing success. If I told my mother that, Mother, I'm presenting to 100 people and only 2 people will actually give me money, she says, what a useless person you are. You are extremely unsuccessful. She never forgot until she died a dinner plate I broke, you know, when I was young. She always reminded that, you know, our dinner set is incomplete because you broke that. So I think we have to teach our students a different way of measuring success. So people ask me, okay, what is the solution? Just in our assessment system, we can do time value of solution. So a student is doing 10 problems. A student who finishes in 2 hours should get more points than the student who finishes in 3 hours. right? Or a student, you cannot give 10 problems, but give them 15 or 20. If somebody can do more problems, they get. So this is just some ideas, but I just wanted to put the seed. This is what we are thinking about in Silicon Valley. How do the next generation of universities will have to act in order to create entrepreneurs? Okay, the second topic I want to talk about is I have built many entrepreneur ecosystems in the world. Sometimes I focused on training. Sometimes I focused on job creation. Sometimes I focused on fundraising. Actually, my conclusion after 40 years of banging my head on this problem is the only way you create entrepreneur ecosystem, you have to do 5 things in parallel. Those 5 things are written up there. So first you have to have marketing, meaning you have to be able to attract companies into your ecosystem, right? Because those companies eventually will create jobs. Secondly, training programs. You know, HEC and a lot of other people do wonderful training programs, but that's one component of that. The third is you have to give incentives to those companies to grow and things like that, and you have to have a solution for funding. But more than that, you have to help those companies with finding customers, trying to do some mergers and acquisition and exits for them. So for example, I have said this, in Pakistan, one of the things that we are missing in our ecosystem are exits. If there are no exits, there is no money coming in, because the money is brought in by investors who are only looking for exits. So my suggestion for the Pakistan ecosystem would be that, yes, one organization can look at one, but as a country, we should look at all of these 5 things. In Saudi Arabia, right now, we are building this system. So we have, of course, very large funding in Saudi Arabia, but we are not just working on one aspect. We have 5 different departments. Each department is doing these 5 things. So I just copied this slide from our own effort, what they're doing. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Okay, next I wanted to share with you some of the challenges that we are now beginning to see in Silicon Valley. You may be surprised to know that in Silicon Valley, we have dropped all requirement of degrees. If you see a job description in an ad, in any of our newspapers, it doesn't say that you need a master's or a bachelor's or a PhD, nothing. You know what it says? List of skills. And list of skills simply says you need these 10 skills and you should be proficient in these skills. And then the interviewer's job is to figure out, are you proficient in this skill or you're not proficient in this skill? So this is a very big challenge. So what it means is a person who went to school, did his master's, may not get the job, and a person who actually probably only got a bachelor, maybe didn't even get bachelor, but is very proficient in doing something like that, may get the job. This shift will eventually come to Pakistan also. So which means we have to mentally get ready about as the shift is happening. It started in Silicon Valley, but it is permeating through in the rest of the United States very quickly. How do universities act when the employers are saying, I don't care about the degrees anymore. I care about what does this person know, can this person do the job or not do the job, right? Next thing I want to emphasize, at least we are doing in Silicon Valley, is flexible degree programs. Which means you enter a degree program, you can leave after 2 years, you can leave after 3 years, you can leave after 4 years. And if you want to actually see a very amazing thing like that, I think there is a Jordan Technical University, I went there in Amman, they have an amazing program. Because student decides what, and they are constantly doing internships. Every year you study, you do an internship, study internship, study internship. Once you do that, the student says, you know what, I have enough. My last internship, I was already working as a full-time employee. I'm not going to study anymore. And then they can come back. They can come back after 2 years, 3 years. Well, you know what? Some new stuff has come. Let me get that stuff. So this is another thing I would like to suggest that we should think about. Next. I think the next one is probably my biggest worry of them all. The impact of AI on higher education. It could be amazing and it could be a disaster, and anywhere in between, I don't know. Let me tell you, my daughter is an animation artist. 300 students, 300 artists work in her company. The CEO walked in about 2 months ago. I said that because in animation, a lot of AI can be used. He said, I don't see more than 30 people working in this company 1 year from now. I have a company in which we are using AI to automate chip design. I have exactly the same view. We can let go of 90% people because we don't need them. What will that do? I have no idea. So I'm just scared. And as you notice, in Silicon Valley, many of us, 420 of us, CEOs wrote letter to Obama, wrote letter to Trump, wrote letter again to Biden, saying that we must somehow regulate AI, otherwise unregulated AI may lead to things that we don't understand, right? So this is, I think, as we think about doing these things in the next generation of Pakistan, I think we should definitely think about skill versus degree, flexible degree programs, and also thinking about how AI can impact. I think the world is going to go from jobs to AI-enabled jobs to people that who don't know AI will actually be removed from the system, and then they will have to find something else to do. I don't think they will all become jobless, because if you went to US in 1890s, I think we have 10 million horses and probably several million horse carriages. In 30 years, all the horses and carriages were gone, but there was not mass unemployment. People found jobs. But the difference between horse carriages and today is that happened over 40 years. This is happening in 5 years. Humans can change, humans can adopt, but humans may not be able to adapt this fast, right? Okay, next slide. Next slide. Okay, so I just want to finish by telling you 2 or 3 interesting programs that we are doing in between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. So number one, it has been my desire for the last 30 years that Pakistan should have a semiconductor industry. We must make our own chips, because I can guarantee you a day will come. I don't know the date. It may be 2 years, it may be 5 years. A day somebody will tell us, no chips for Pakistan. You can write it on a piece of paper and I can guarantee that will happen. On that day, we will not be able to do anything. Your banks won't work, your hospitals won't work, your missiles won't work, your aircraft won't work, nothing will work because we will not have the critical chips that we need. In our society, we can do nothing without chips. Nothing. And if we are choked on the chips, just like US and China are going at the war right now, the whole point is to try to choke China. But the point is you can slow down a country and in 5 years it can start looking like a Stone Age economy. So this is the reason why we want to do that. Anyway, we have tried many, many times. We were not very successful in trying to scale up. So what we are doing now is that we are actually building a 50-company national semiconductor hub in Saudi Arabia. It will create 5,000 jobs, out of which our hope is that 2,000 to 3,000 people will work from Pakistan working for the Saudi companies. This is the only way we see today that we can generate the funding that we need to make it happen, right? So this is our goal. And as a result, what we are doing is that we are going to declare Pakistan as a spoke of the national semiconductor hub. So I'm working with Abu Bakr Sahab and Shahzad Fatma and lots of other people in our government to make it happen. And so what will that do? It will start training people in Pakistan, students. They are already, I think you're about to announce a program of 100 students training between PSAP and Ignite. And the idea would be that these trained people have a choice to go to Saudi Arabia and work there, or stay in Pakistan, and we can start the design centers in Pakistan. So this is one program. This is 50 companies over the next 5 years. Inshallah, it will employ 3,000 people in Pakistan. These are very high-end jobs. These are chip designers, right? The next program that we are doing is more general than semiconductor. What we are trying to do is to take 50 companies from Pakistan into Saudi Arabia every year. 20 companies. And we call that program Grow in KSA. And this is the brainchild of Abu Bakr Bhai. And the idea really is, let's take the companies there. Since I am in Saudi Arabia and many other people in Saudi Arabia, we will help those companies get local customers, grow their business, and make their, fundamentally much bigger companies. And then we can look for exits and things like that. So the idea is, let's pick 5 companies every quarter, move them to Saudi Arabia, and help them grow. All right. So these are the 2 programs. But one request I have for all of you It is my opinion that the biggest opportunity for Pakistan today is Saudi Arabia. If you need any help from me or for lots of other people who are working in Saudi Arabia, be it health, be it construction, be it anything, out of 50, 60, 70 segments, Saudi Arab is growing and they would like to work with Pakistan. They don't like to work with other countries. Why? Because fundamentally, Pakistan is like Saudi Arabia. We don't change their culture. We are like them. So they really welcome us. So my request to all of you is, no matter what you are working on, and if I can help, or any of the other people that we have in Saudi Arabia who can help, we would love to welcome you all to Saudi Arabia. But our only requirement is it must create opportunity for Pakistan, because we have no reason to work in Saudi Arabia if it doesn't create a win for Pakistan. Thank you very much. Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sherwani, for your keynote. And obviously, I think thank you so much for highlighting as to what's happening in Pakistan and how we really need to change our teaching system. I think I've got a brilliant example over here. I had a marketing professor. He was a graduate of Harvard, and he once said, because everybody used to flunk in his class, nobody was passing the exam, and he said, I do not want you to reproduce what's written in the book. Rather, if you can convince me with your comprehension skills, that's exactly what's going to get you some marks as well. But while, he was spilling the pearls of wisdom, what he said was that now in Silicon Valley, it's skill, it's not degree, and we need to change that. We need to adapt to the impact of AI and rather think about jobs to AI jobs as well. So thank you so much, Mr. Sherwani, for your keynote speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored that we have been joined by Professor Dr. Syed Suhail Hussain Naqvi, who is the CEO, Knowledge Streams. Now, I would like to tell you about him, and most of the people here know about him. Professor Dr. S. Suhail H. Naqvi is a visionary leader in education and innovation, currently spearheading a venture launched in September 2022 to equip youth with skills and knowledge for gainful employment in critical economic sectors, starting with IT, in collaboration with the software industry to meet its demand for high-quality talent. He previously served as the founding rector of the University of Central Asia and as Vice-Chancellor of the Lahore University of Management Sciences, that is LUMS. And prior to LUMS, he was the Executive Director of the Higher Education Commission, HEC, for 8 years, driving a dramatic increase in research activity, student enrollment, and program standardization across Pakistan's universities. Dr. Naqvi has extensive teaching and research experience in the US and Pakistan and has served as a consultant for the Asian Development Bank and World Bank as well. His contributions to education have earned him many awards internationally, and if we talk about Pakistan, he has received Sitare-e-Imtiaz from Pakistan. I would now request the Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Syed Suhail Hussain Naqvi, to address the audience. Please welcome Professor Dr. Syed Suhail Naqvi. Hello.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's good to have a backup chief guest here. But it's a real pleasure to be at an HEC ceremony and see the fruits of a tree that was planted a long time ago here. The entire reason that we focused on building higher education in Pakistan was for these institutions to serve as engines of economic growth. And I remember the first World Bank program that was based on the Medium-Term Development Framework 2, in which we talked about universities building leadership, universities building economies, and universities building society. And there is a fundamental reason that we looked at universities, because these are core institutions. And as the recent recognition by the Nobel Committee has demonstrated, that institutions build countries. Now you have 200
40-odd, 269 universities all across the country. Each of these universities is your engine of sustainability, because every reform, every effort that you are making, you are going to make that effort in Haripur, in Lahore, in Uthal, in Gilgit, wherever you talk about. So therefore, this effort of entrepreneurship that is being, that is now what we are seeing over here, is something that can be taken up by each university, adapted to the needs of that particular region, because South Punjab and Dera, whether it is Dera Ismail Khan or wherever, or you are talking about Sharingal in Lower Dir, these are very different environments and different areas over here. So it is the institution that is located over there that is going to recognize the needs of that place and then respond to it. And that was the reason for the initial program for the business incubation centers, and then the entire effort for establishing ORIX, or the Office of Research, Innovation and Commercialization, to recognize a very fundamental and core role that a university plays in this ecosystem. And I must emphasize here that the university is one player. University is not the entirety over here. And here, when we talked about a university, it is setting up a space for innovation to occur. Now, innovation by definition is the opposite of control. You cannot tell it. You can't, there is no formula. If there was a formula, every country of the world would have a Silicon Valley, but they don't. There is something else that is required. Innovation requires chaos. Innovation requires going against the stream. And innovation requires that the academics recognize that this is a domain that is different. There is no faster way to kill innovation and a business incubation center than to put a professor in charge. And I'm speaking as a professor here. Okay? So when we established the Lum Center for Entrepreneurship, we made absolutely sure that it was not a professor, and it was Khurram Zafar who came in from the Silicon Valley with the experience. Or you would take a person, I mean, you would be lucky, it would be a dream to have a person like Naveed Shirwani. He is not a professor. He's an entrepreneur. He's an innovator. Make that person in charge. Entrepreneurship and innovation is driven by money. You make money, you're successful. Now, you may not make money in the short term. It may be like in Amazon, you have to wait for a long, long time, but you will make money. The knowledge industry, which is what we are a part of as professors, as vice chancellors, is different to that. And so we have to recognize our boundaries and our limitations. And it's not an either-or journey. Dr. Naveed Shirwani talked about skills, for example. Well, skills and what you study are a part and parcel, but skills is an application. If you're not understanding the fundamentals of it, that thing is going to change. Why is it that these people are able to take AI and innovate with it and run with it? It's because they have the fundamental knowledge, and as technology changes, fiber comes in, something else comes in, they are able to adapt and change. So there is always this tussle, how much application and how much fundamental knowledge. But the main concept here is, and this is something very crucial for Pakistan, is that universities are always considered as autonomous bodies. Universities cannot be controlled. There is a new effort that is going around the entire country over here. We are looking at successful institutions of universities. There is an effort to come in and say, no, we will tell them what to do. The day you do that, you will kill the university. And that is your golden goose.
Why do I say that? Look at the research rankings of Pakistan. I was very pleased to see the innovation rankings where Pakistan has made such progress. Look at the research ranking, go to the Scopus website. Pakistan is ranked number 26 in the world in research output. International quality, high caliber research output, Pakistan is ranked number 26. I don't think there's any other indicator where Pakistan is ranked this high. But you have that high research and then you have the actual application. How do the two come together? That is the journey that we are discussing today. Where is the product form? How is somebody going to make money out of that? It's a very complex thing and it is not formula based. It requires freedom. It requires space. It requires experimentation. It requires a celebration of failure. That's the way it goes. And it requires an I-can-do approach to the world. Look what happened 2 weeks ago with what DeepSeek did. You had Sam Altman coming in telling OpenAI, look, we've got $100 billion, we're going to rule the world forever. You guys, shut up and sit down. And he actually said that at standing in a stage when an Indian person asked him what would happen, can a 200-person company in India create a fundamental model? And he said, shut up, this is not something that you guys will be able to do. Now look what happened. This is an inspiration for us. What do you think Pakistan can do? Can we do anything like that? Of course. Technology never stops. And that's the beauty of it. Today, when you are going to go out and do the work, you will have DeepSeek, ChatGPT, everything available to you, just like the same person who sits in Dublin or Amsterdam or Brazil or anywhere else in the world. It's an equal playing field. The fastest mind, the best application wins. And it applies to Pakistan. We are not a third, tiered country. You don't go by stages over here. There is a possibility of complete leapfrog. America wants to shut down China. Look what China did. The world wants to shut down India. It's not going to happen. You cannot control the human mind. Ultimately, the finest creation in the world is the human mind. And there is no limits and no horizon that cannot be breached by the human mind. And this resource that Pakistan has, 269 institutions of higher learning, working at the state of the art, publishing toe-to-toe with the best in the world, okay? Because they did, you can't make a research publication if you haven't done the work that is at that level. Now, the greatest challenge that Pakistan faces in the economic situation is how do we move the economy with these ideas? And the pathway is of entrepreneurship, the pathway is an application of innovation, and there is absolutely no limit to what can be achieved. A unicorn can be born here. From this room, it is very much possible. It has happened in all parts, other parts of the world. Pakistan's greatest asset is its youth and its minds. This is what everybody needs. This is what they want. That's why they give you green cards and blue cards and Australian point scheme and Canadian point scheme. They want the brightest minds. We in our country, if we would recognize what this wealth is all about and open up the possibilities of what we can actually make in Pakistan, what we can deliver in Pakistan, you will see an economic revolution the likes of which the world has not seen before. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Guest, for sharing your thoughts. He said that there is no formula for innovation. Innovation requires chaos and it requires freedom. He also said that you cannot control a human mind and it can go to any limit and you cannot limitize a human mind. Innovation has no boundaries and, we can actually proceed and flourish in any way which is possible.
I think that's great as well. But while we are over here, I think we really need to recognize our speakers, for which I will actually request the Chairman HEC, Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed, to please join us over here on the stage. And the Chairman HEC will first of all present our worthy chief guest, Professor Dr. Syed Suhail Naqvi, with a souvenir. So please can we have you over here on the stage with a big round of applause, everybody. तालियों में और दम हो सकता है वैसे. Thank you so much, sir. Now I will request the Chairman HEC to present a souvenir to the Country Director of World Bank, Mr. Najib bin Hassan. Thank you so much, Mr. Najib bin Hassan, for being with us today at ICE 2025. Thank you so much. Last but not the least, I will request Dr. Sherwani to please join us over here on the stage to receive his souvenir. If he's here, I saw him walking outside the room. Sir, I guess he's out, but thank you so much, Chairman Saab. We'll give it to him as well. Thank you so much, Chairman Saab, for being with us. But for all the investors who are interested in one-on-one office hours, are requested to register on the registration desk, which is just outside, so that you can have your own private conversations with the startups as well. And we have a very significant segment of investors' pitches, which is going to be at 12, ladies and gentlemen. So please make sure there's a specified area for that and are requested to be seated in the specified area at the announcement of investor pitches. For now,
It's time for a tea break and networking. We hope this turns into a wonderful opportunity to meet fellow participants, share ideas, and perhaps spark your next collaboration as well.
Exactly, but Sada, before we actually move on towards our cup of tea, I think I'm going to request the worthy chief guest once again over here so that he can actually officially inaugurate the exhibition area as well. So, sir, Professor Dr. Syed Suhail Naqvi Saab, we would want you to be over here on stage, our worthy chief guest. Please, can we have you over here? Sir, आपके दस्ते मुबारक से हम जो है वो इफ्तिताह कराना चाहते हैं अपने exhibition area का. So please join us over here on stage. It's more digital. It's more about innovation these days. So let's do it. Okay. So, sir, there's a bit of change as well. We're going to take you through the exhibition area ourselves. Let's go. Let's see the exhibition area. Thank you so much. Followed by a cup of tea.
Beyond seed funding, they offer mentorship, strategic guidance, networking, and pathways to later stage investments, playing a crucial role in sustaining and scaling up. With this, we move on to our panel discussion on incubators as catalysts for startup success beyond seed funding. We are joined by the esteemed panelists and moderator. Mr. Ayub Zakori would moderate the panel. Mr. Zakori is the CEO of Zakori Group of Industries. He leads a diverse portfolio of 11 successful businesses across industries, including manufacturing, hospitality, food and beverage, energy, construction, and IT.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is over to Mr. Zakori. Mr. Zakori, please, can we have you over here? Big round of applause for you. Thank you so much. Please introduce your panel first.
Thank you. I'll actually go from there.
Wherever you feel like.
Yes, it's audible now, I believe. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome back to the session. Thank you for the kind introduction, guys. It actually kind of gives me goosebumps when someone gives this kind of an introduction, because I myself, sitting here among the startups and everyone, so I've been a startup myself 19 years back, started my journey with 3 lakh rupees only. So if I convert that in dollars, it would be like $3,000 back then. And today, God has been really kind. I've always I'm grateful to my Allah. I'm grateful to my God for this day. So before actually I speak more about myself, because today is not about me, it's about the panelists. So I would like to take the introduction, though I was being offered that they can do the introduction, but I don't know what happened to me that I said, no, let me do it. So I've never done moderation before. So I'm doing it for the first time. I've always been on the other side of the panel or at the keynote section. So if I do something wrong, so please forgive me for that, especially the panelist. The first panelist is a dynamic leader with the wealth of experience across multiple industries. He's the current CEO of Cola Next and has served as the MD of Paracha Textile and Mizan Group. As the CEO of Cola Next, he has played a pivotal role in revitalizing the brand, driving innovation and expanding its market presence. I'm sure we all know about that. His career journey includes key roles at Unilever, Nestle and PepsiCo, where he honed his expertise in marketing, supply chain, optimization, and strategic planning. Known for his inclusive and transformative leadership style, he believes in empowering teams, sounds like me, fostering innovation and maintaining open communication. Despite facing a challenging incident in July 2024, where he was abducted in Karachi and later recovered in Lahore, his resilience and dedication to his vision remain unwavering. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Zulfikar Ahmed to the stage. Mr. Zulfikar, please. Did I do well? Okay, I'm glad. Well, okay. This is the second time that this happened. Because the second panelist, it was very funny. Outside we were having coffee and I actually got this document about their introduction and everything. And I had to literally read it 3 times so I don't mess up. And in this introduction, the person specifically I'm talking about, they were pretty difficult words that I had to Google to pronounce. That how am I supposed to pronounce that? When I showed it to her, she was like, that's not me. And I was like, okay. Who are you then? So I'll actually start with her introduction. She is a unique blend, an entrepreneur in emerging markets, an angel investor for the past 14 years, mainly in MENA and Europe, currently managing partner of the Co-Thrive Venture Studio in UAE, specializing in AI verticals of healthcare and fintech. Furthermore, she has a co-designed investor residence program in Pakistan as well, the Western Balkans, UAE and Peru, helping over 100 founders in securing funding. A leader in business development, a strategic planner, she has got roles that go beyond investing and alumni. In addition to that, she's a dedicated researcher as well. Please join me in welcoming Miss Maria Carolina, also known as MC, please. Oh, I'm glad. Our third panelist is a distinguished academic leader, education reformer, with a remarkable impact on Pakistan's higher education landscape. With a PhD in electrical engineering, I'm sure everyone knows who I'm talking about now, engineering from Pujo University, he currently leads a youth-scale initiative focused on IT and economic sectors. As a founding rector of the University of Central Asia and former vice-chancellor of LUMS, he elevated institutional rankings and fostered entrepreneurship. His tenure as Executive Director of HEC Pakistan expanded research and academic standards nationwide. Recognized globally with the Order of Academic Palms, France, and Sitara Imtiaz, Pakistan. He continues shaping education and innovation. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sohail Naqvi Saab. Thank you, sir, and our backup chief guest as well.
Yeah, that is correct.
Our fourth panelist is a seasoned businessman, trade consultant with over 2 decades of experience in fostering international collaboration. As a founding member of the Asia Berlin Forum, he has strengthened startup ties between Berlin and Asia. He played a key role as chief guest is on my mind, as chief advisor for the Pakistan-German business relation, facilitating the merger of PGBF and GPTI into the German-Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He serves as the managing director of the German-Pakistan Forum and general secretary of the German-Pakistan Society, enhancing trade and investment between Germany and Pakistan. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Talat Mahmood to the stage. Thank you, Dr. Saab. Our fifth panelist is a distinguished leader. Dr. Saab, you're here. You're next to me. Dr. Saab, you're here, next to me. Thank you, sir. At least I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. Oh, can I shift there? Oh, that would be wonderful. Hello. Yes. I'm glad someone noticed that I can't even visually see my panelists. So it's going to be pretty difficult for me to communicate to them. Our fifth panelist is a distinguished leader at the intersection of finance, technology, and policy. As Commissioner for Specialized Companies and IT at SECP, he drives policy initiatives to foster a secure and inclusive business environment. Previously, as Chief Commissioner Officer at the Pakistan Software Export Board, he advanced the software export sector. His expertise in fintech and investment includes leadership roles at Arcotech Consultants in Pakistan Real Estate and Investment Management, managing global projects in a $60 million portfolio. His contributions have been a key in shaping Pakistan's financial and regulatory landscape. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Zishan Khattak to the stage. Okay, thank you. Last but not the least, I can actually call him my brother from the same land that I come from. Our sixth and final panelist is a dynamic leader in Pakistan's startup and digital innovation ecosystem, director of the National Incubation Center, Peshawar, where he plays a pivotal role in fostering entrepreneurship and driving digital transformation. With over 15 years of experience in program management, strategic planning, and innovation, he has been an instrumental supporting startups and shaping policies for ICT and SMEs. Previously, as Deputy Director at KPIT Board, he led groundbreaking initiatives like Pakistan's first publicly funded coding program and the KP Youth Employment Program. His contributions extend to public-private partnerships, telemedicine projects, and digital skills development. Passionate about empowering entrepreneurs, he continues to shape Pakistan's future in technology and innovation. Please welcome Mr. Asim Ishaq Khan to the stage. Oh, we have a lot of clappings over here. Oh, finally, I'm done with the introduction. Well, gentlemen and ladies, thank you very much for today, especially except Asim and me. I think we are from Pakistan, and Khattak Saab. Most of you are traveling from abroad, coming to Pakistan for this event specially. So it's an honor for us. Thank you very much for joining us today. And it's kind of a learning session for all the startups that are going to be here. Because I'll tell you one thing, back in the days, like 19 years ago, when I got married to my lovely wife and I started my career, I had no one to guide me. Trust me, the startup word even was not known in this country, in this part of the world. Now, knowing that there are a lot of people who are out there willing to help you, it's a game changer. So please, learn from it and take the key takeaways from this and put it into your real lives and make us proud, make Pakistan proud. So by not delaying it further, shall we start the questions with all your permission, sir? So Zulfikar Ahmed Saab, my first question is from you, sir. Given your expertise in leveraging cutting-edge technologies for problem-solving and digital transformation, how do you...
Sorry, could you repeat that again, please?
How do you see incubators playing a role in fostering innovation for startups, tracking real-world issues like energy, environment, and smart city solutions? Do you want me to repeat that?
No, I got it. I got it. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'll begin with the wrong introduction. I've got nothing to do with the cola next or manufacturing of any textile, and certainly I've never been kidnapped in my entire life, so I don't know whose introduction was that, though. I work in energy and the tech sector for the last 25 years, mostly based in London. I also have some things going on in Pakistan. Talk about smart cities, talk about digital transformation, talk about innovation, and how incubation or how incubators can play a role in that one. I think I would begin with by how the government make policies in this sector, especially if I cite you the example in the UK, when we start talking about net zero 20 years ago, the government built policies where large business energy users, they had to measure their energy spending or consumption on a yearly basis. That opened up a huge new venue for startups to start coming into energy sector because there was a scope for the new businesses to be set up. When we talk about smart cities, that include energy, that includes your water, air quality management, your traffic systems. So the policies are the driving factor, I would say, in many countries. For example, in Pakistan, if you want to do something in digital transformation, let's say you want to build some 3D printers, look at the government policies. To import a printer down here, you have 8 agencies involved from ISIs to MI, where you need to go for NOCs for 6 months, and then you're lucky if you can get those one. So the policies need to be changed. Go to the fintech. We have 485 EMI electronic money institution in the UK. How many we got? Like maybe 10 down here. Reason being that the licensing fees in the UK is $25,000 and not the 320 million that you need to stick down here with SPP in Pakistan. So I would say most of the driving the factors, the incubators take. When you talk about the 3 domains, you talk about digital transformation, energy. I think they are also linked with how the government policies are designed and how that help the innovators, jump into those kind of sectors.
All right. Building on that, MC, I would call you MC, right? With your extensive experience mentoring founders and building investor communities globally, what are some key takeaways about how incubators can effectively prepare startups for sustainable growth beyond initial funding rounds?
So, as a founder, and then afterwards having the experience of working with so many entrepreneurs globally, my number one advice for everyone is to test your assumptions in every opportunity that you have. As an investor, one of the biggest mistakes I did was actually invest in a company that was like super deep tech in Switzerland, but we never got the opportunity to actually test all of the assumptions in the market. So that for me would be number one. Whatever assumption you have, even your ideal customer profile, your product market fit, your pricing, even your technology, if it's not, let's say, at an MVP stage, but it can be even at literally prototype, you can do beta testing and get that feedback from the market as soon as possible. So that would be for me number one that I learned. As a founder and as an investor, I always, whenever I'm doing due diligence and so on, I always push the teams like, how much of all of these assumptions has been verified there? And even if we get it wrong, it's important that we take fast decisions like pivoting the business models as soon as I can. So that would be for me number one thing.
So technically, like making sure that the data you have, the information that you have, and then on top of it, that you actually make decisions on time so you don't lose on that.
Correct.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
Yeah.
So going forward, thank you for that. Dr. Saab, so Naqvi Saab, my next question is towards you. As a former leader of prominent educational institutions and innovation hubs, how do you envision incubators collaborating with universities to create a steady pipeline of skilled entrepreneurs and problem solvers?
Okay. Look, I thought we were talking about incubators that are located inside of universities. Are we talking about incubators outside? Okay.
Both.
All right. So the question is about innovation which precedes your establishment or your work in an incubator. And innovation requires a mind that questions why. So the responsibility of the university is in providing an environment that is free and open, where you will get people that are going the other way. So as an academic leader, you are looking for those people that are not doing what you are telling them to do and are traveling the other path. So the person who is making the life of the Vice Chancellor the hardest, that's the person that you are looking for. So this is exactly opposite to our normal mode of operation over here. And in terms of collaborating with incubators, I think the biggest lesson that we need to impart is that about the economy. Because you have to be selling something. In a university, we get excited with creating a solution. We have solved a problem, we have come up with something. But here we just heard MCs talked about test all your assumptions on the ground floor. I was running a company, Knowledge Streams. We had a certain set of assumptions. We dove into that. But now when I look at it and I say, okay, if I had tested this assumption, it would have been better. Then something that anybody will always tell you is that whatever you start out with, you are going to end up with something completely different, which is most unlike in an academic situation where you have a problem that is defined and a pathway towards a solution. So the way to collaborate between an academic institution and an incubation center is to recognize and celebrate the differences. Recognize and appreciate those who will travel a different way, who will create something new, who will ask the question that has not been asked, and on top of that, will understand the economic potential and create a business model. I will put in so much money and I will get out so much money. That is a question that in an academic situation, we are not normally asking. And if we put these two together, we will have entrepreneurship flourish.
But like you said earlier in your keynote as well, Dr. Saab, continuing on that, when you said like we need the right people at the right place, specifically like when you mentioned about the incubator that you set up in Lahore. So what kind of a role, because me being an entrepreneur myself, and when we are in incubation centers, what role does like the mentors play in a way that have we ever taught them that failure is not something to be scared of? Is it not just only something to like embrace and learn from it? Like, do we have the right people like in this ecosystem right now who's actually like really doing this?
It's very important to understand that entrepreneurship is a skill and is a doing thing. It's not something that you go into a lab or a classroom and on a blackboard you are telling them. You have to go ahead and you have to test the market over here. So the way we ran, when we started the Lum Center for Entrepreneurship, we had a 2-week course. And in that 2-week course, a person had to have an idea, create a company, sell something, and actually close the company down. And the person teaching it used to say, you've got to get out there and, for example, sell socks. Do you know how hard it is to sell socks standing out there in the rain, in the sun over there? But that exchange of finances and the product that you give and then you receive something, that is what it's all about. And if you don't understand that, you are not going to be understanding entrepreneurship. So it is a skill, it's a doing thing, and you have to get in there and actually, be making something, doing something, creating something happening.
Thank you. I actually always say there is a contradiction. There's a very famous saying that they say that leaders are not born, they are made. So being an entrepreneur, I always contradict in terms of entrepreneurship that entrepreneurs are not made. It's an instinct that they have. They're born with this ability. So it's very important to have that charisma, I would say, or that acumen of risk-taking and everything, as per my understanding. Anyways, going forward, Dr. Talat Saab, my next question is towards you, sir. With your extensive network across Germany and Asia, since you're in Germany, how do you see incubators acting as bridges between global and local startup ecosystems to promote cross-border innovation and investment? And like we had this discussion even last night and even today in the morning, I would like you to
enlighten us a little bit about what you are actually doing in between bridging this Pakistani and startups and like German startups, how you're actually doing that?
Thank you. A very important question you have just asked me. Well, working with Berlin startup ecosystem for years, as you asked, that we are developing cross-border collaboration between startup ecosystem of the two different countries. But first, let me start. I had the opportunity of visiting incubation centers, couple of in Pakistan last year, where I had the chance to talk to the startup personally. I was very fascinated about their progress, the incubation program they have gone through. But I got a list of 32 startups with, let's say, a little bit traction, so from seed to A stage. And there the idea emerged that these startups actually need an international access for their growth. And then I developed an expansion program for these startups in Pakistan with some traction to join Berlin startup ecosystem for further growth. So this was the first question. Now I am here in Pakistan with two certain reasons, which practical message I want to convey here is that a lot of hype has been created from Udan, Pakistan, that 26 billion would be generated via freelancing and offshore work in Pakistan. My opinion is that, which I have done practically in Pakistan during this period, that I evaluated the skills taught in Pakistan. Very importantly, I want to say is whether they really match the demand created in Europe or in Germany, for example. Luckily, I found one or two very exciting developers from Pakistan, and I just wanted to evaluate their skills. And what I did is I developed with him jointly a chatbot, to use later on in Germany for my workshops. And this gentleman had really back end, front end, and all these frameworks which he used. For example, developing this app was fantastic. Now, the second important point which I want to emphasize is for Pakistani, this is naturally you should concentrate on agentic and physical AI. So this segment is creating internationally billions of dollars growth, And in Germany, for example, we have a transition that small and medium-sized companies, thousands and corporates are transforming their businesses while using these LLM models to automate their working flows within the company and automating their business processes. So this is basically only automation, but this agentic and physical AI goes beyond that. So this is a segment, believe me, is generating, as I said before, not only technologies. This would give Pakistani startup a possibility of offering services and developing products. For example, let me give you an example. Don't forget, what are the industry use cases for agentic AI? Finance, healthcare, marketing, legal AI, customer support, software development, and so. And if I talk about physical AI, then you have manufacturing AI-powered robotic arms, logistic and supply chain, automotive, self-driving cars, so autonomous car driving, healthcare, agriculture. So there are so many industrial sectors where demand is there that Pakistani startup can serve that. So lastly, I want to say is that I want to address in Pakistan now, I want to identify few startups with traction which could meet these demands. So I am holding soon a workshop in Lahore to talk to these startups. So there are great opportunities, I think, in the German and European market.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the detailed feedback. My next question is towards Khadak Saab. From your regulatory perspective, what policies or frameworks can incubators and government bodies jointly develop to foster innovation while ensuring compliance and transparency for startups? And before you answer that, one small request to the audience. I'm getting questions. So with your questions, if you can just mention who do you want this to answered by? Who do you want to direct this question to? That would be really kind of you. Sir, please, Khaled Saab.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for having me here. So I'll tell you a bit about how SCCP looks at the evolving business and the regulatory landscape. So we at SCCP, we realize that innovation is always going to be at the cutting edge, and the regulatory side and the formulation and implementation of the regulatory framework is going to have that laggard approach to it. The difference between the developed market and the developing countries is that the time gap between regulation and the formation and then implementation in comparison to the innovation is longer. So we at SCCP, we are constantly looking for ways to just be close to innovation and try to create that conducive environment where the startups are able to operate effectively. They have the opportunity to not only scale locally, but also look at newer markets internationally as well. So as far as our role, and to facilitate that agenda, what we do is that we have constant liaison and interactions with startups. We go to NICs. We have what we call a regulatory sandbox. What it has is that all these startups, they have a very relaxed regulatory framework where they are able to test their ideas in controlled environments. So in that way, the startups know exactly the shape of things to come, and it helps us to make sure that we address all the kind of issues and the opportunities that may arise in this process. Another thing that we do is we have, whenever we are coming out with new regulations which may affect startups and existing businesses as well, we go into consultative sessions. And we encourage businesses, startups, and the NICs to be part of it, so they are and have an opportunity to influence the regulatory process and the formulation process as well. Another thing that we do is that we try to maintain some sort of presence at NICs and to understand the newer ideas that are brewing and ensure that we have a system in place where we can facilitate and let them hit the ground running as well. So these are few things that we are looking at, and we are always open for newer things, and we believe that regulation is not the end, but just the means to the end. So we focus on the facilitation side of things. So that's my part.
Thank you, Khadak Saab. That was quite informative. And being from an entrepreneur family and being connected to SCCP since my birth, I would actually say. So I'm really proud of saying this, that back in the days when the Ignite actually initiated the NICs, the one that they opened in Peshawar, so I was actually chairing the advisory board for that. And I was really amazed to see the kind of inclusiveness SCCP was building in for the startups. So I'm really happy to hear that, sir. Next question is towards my brother Asim. Asim, since you're actually director of NICs and everything, so as someone who has mentored SMEs, since you have been doing that in your role right now, for the global market entry, how can incubators help startups build strategies for scaling internationally while maintaining sustainable operations?
Thank you, Ayub. Lovely being here. First of all, I would like to congratulate HEC for putting a wonderful show together. I think the intent is right, bringing all the investors, the startups, the academic institutions together. So I think, we need to appreciate that for HEC to coming and taking up this role. As somebody who's been associated with the startup ecosystem for more than a decade, I think we need to take a step back and we need to examine the evolution of the startup ecosystem or the incubation centers. Initially, one or two incubation centers, privately funded, were functioning in Pakistan, and then the public sector came in, and they were not just funding it, but also were the implementing partners. And then with Ignite's initiative of the NICs, that was the first time that we saw a public-private partnership where it was funded by the government, but they invited private companies to come in and operate these NICs. So the evolution journey has been where, from singular companies coming and operating these incubation centers to what is now the NICs, where there's one technology company at the center of these NICs as the implementing partner, partnered with an academic institution. For example, in Peshawar, we've got Institute of Management Sciences. In Lahore, you've got VNU. In Karachi, we've got NED. In Hyderabad, we've got University of Hyderabad. And then an international accelerator coming in to bring the international perspective to these incubation centers. So that has been the evolution of the NICs, which gives you, a very clear perspective where we're headed, from being focused on building a local ecosystem to creating global stories. And that is why for NIC Peshawar, we've partnered with Orbit Startups, which is one of the most active international accelerator, close to 24, 25 companies, portfolio companies here in Pakistan, they've invested in. And that's how we, as an incubation center, are supporting scaling startups and going beyond the boundaries of Pakistan, going internationally. By partnering with international institutions, we ourselves, as a technology company, are a global company. We're present across 30, 32 countries. So we bring that wealth of knowledge as well. We displace the operational costs for the startups that we would be helping scale. We also displace the market insights for them because we have that first-hand insight. And because our legal and regulatory teams are also, they bring in that international experience, so we're well aware of the compliance and regulatory requirements that are required for you to operate outside of Pakistan. So I think this evolution is very pivotal to how the NICs or the incubation centers in Pakistan now function. And similarly, the donor agencies have also now brought in the different components of the value chain with a more global perspective. For example, their Ignite's Bridge Startup program, which is an international acceleration exchange program, where they're asking your startups to find opportunities outside of Pakistan, and they would come in and support that. And then the Pakistan Startup Fund, which again is a pre-seed or seed stage fund to help startups. And it's on a matching grant basis, so international VCs are welcomed here to come and invest in those startups and take them outside of Pakistan. So that's just very briefly about how this ecosystem has now shaped up with with more focus on taking Pakistani companies outside of Pakistan. The end goal of these incubation centers is not to just have, make you rich. The end goal is to have global domination. And that's, I think, where we're headed. The intent and the insights are right. And I'm so glad that all of the ecosystem players are now coming together to support this.
Thank you, Asim. I actually wonder, and I wish that I was born in this era, because I'm 43 years old. I believe I was 20 years younger, and I would have been a startup by now. And I wonder where would I have been by now, with your help, with incubations, Ignite, and HEC, and everything. So, having said that, if there is any startup sitting over here, mark it from me, listen, hear it from me, that you guys need to benefit out of these facilities. It's a great opportunity. Building on that, MC, I have the liberty to call you MC now. I know everyone calls you MC.
Since we were having this discussion over the coffee, and I just found out that you're coming again, inshallah, to Pakistan in April, and you guys have joined something going on with NIC Peshawar, and I'm very proud that something is coming to Peshawar, like for the Investor Connect and everything of that. So my next question is towards you again, and you have to discuss, you have to enlighten us with your plan for the April in Peshawar, that from your involvement in diverse ecosystems like Pakistan, Europe, and in the MENA region, what role do you believe cross-border collaborations and investor readiness programs play in expanding the impact of incubators?
So last week I was in Cairo, and I was asked by one of the startup founders, because by default, all entrepreneurs need funding. Now, what type of funding? That differs. So this founder was looking for non-dilutive funding, which means it can be grants or revenue-based finance or others. And so he was asking me, why should I get investor readiness program? And my answer to that is one of the breakthroughs I did when I was a founder is that in investor readiness program, and as you, I would have loved that whenever was my journey, I would have had all of this support. And it was fundraising is the most important sale. You are selling share of your company. So even if you're going for non-dilutive funding, it's a great exercise because in the future, actually you will need to exit your company at some point or at the very end. So so number one, IRPs, meaning investor readiness programs, are definitely fundamental for all incubators and accelerator programs. Your second part of the question about cross-border is that part of that investor readiness program comes the investor outreach. And I had the opportunity to actually work here in Pakistan almost 3 years ago. When I landed here, the ecosystem was booming. Like I had all of the VCs funding all of the startups and so on. Suddenly, macroeconomics changed, many things changed, and I had like a pool of unbelievable women-led ventures. Many of them are here in the room. And we were like, how come we can actually provide, this access to funding? And it was because a program that was run by I2I and the World Bank, we were able to do that investor outreach globally, where networks such as Epic Angels like Mikey will talk in the future and others, actually we came in and we were actually co-investors or injecting funding to an ecosystem that at the very beginning started to be very dry. So that for me is super important. Yes, investor readiness programs are important even if you go for non-dilutive funding for sales purposes, and cross-border partnerships are key. Because at the very end, every startup needs to literally get financing between 6 to 8 rounds. And all networks we get saturated or the funding gets scarce. And therefore, these actually cross-border partnerships are key, not only for providing funding, but also to open markets globally. So I'm kind of a fan of those ones.
Thank you. Well, the key takeaway from here is, and even Naqvi Saab initially mentioned it as keynote, and now MC mentioned it as well, that while getting into something, you need to know how to get out of that. And based on that, I remember a friend of mine, he's from Spain, he actually shared a book with me, and it's a really interesting one, and I would actually recommend to everyone. It's called Built to Sell. And it's kind of a story, though I don't read much, to be very honest, but like that one book, I'd actually kind of got my attention. So it's a highly recommended one to all the startups, Built to Sell. My next question is towards Zulfikar Saab, towards you. As someone experienced like you, what key strategies should incubators adopt to ensure that tech-focused startups also generate social impact, especially in developing economy? Because here in developing economies, I would actually say in Pakistan and like other developing economies, they're not really focused on the tech side. They're always mostly towards the conventional size and everything. So please, can you
I think before going into the social impact, if I can. Okay. Well, now? Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, before going into the social impact and the tech, I think let's understand a bit of history of the social impact and the social values. Historically, we used to have a single P, what we know as measuring the performance or the success of a business, which is P stand for the profit. But as the history, as the time passes away and came the 1840, 60, then we introduced the social enterprises that came up with a different 3P, which is people, planet, and profit. Again, as we move forward in the history, the consumer became more aware, so people want to outsource products and services from those buyers, those manufacturers, and those producers who build those products or manufacture those products, ethically outsource. They use less resources, they don't destroy the environment, they don't destroy the planet and the trees and the water and the energy and stuff like that. So what happened now is a lot of tech companies are based upon these criteria of 3P. When I know that I would go to buy maybe a shirt from that particular manufacturer that is using less of the resources, I will go from there. The investor will see the same thing. So the companies that come up, whether they are solving a problem of X, Y, Z, but they do also have a social impact embedded in their core belief, they will probably have a more chance of getting money down there. But some of the stuff like, I was looking at a startup in Pakistan called Sehat Kahani. Sehat Kahani, they have the core mission is to provide telemedicine to the masses down in Pakistan. But they are also solving a social problem of female doctor retention, which is a problem, and they're doing that. Similarly, food waste is a global problem. One of the tech company called Too Good To Go started in 2016, and they have an app that connects 100 million users to 170,000 restaurants that they offer discounted end-of-the-day food to those consumers that won't otherwise be going to the bins down there. We talk about in Pakistan. In Pakistan, there are many opportunities directly inside Pakistan and directly and indirectly outside of Pakistan. Recently, last year, we did a project with some rice farmers. As European Union consumer demanded rice coming from the countries should be bought from those producers, the one who use less water. So we build up some solution for that. There's a lot of tech companies, they are entering into this market, not trying to tap only the social issues of Pakistan, but also the social issues of other countries where the stuff is being exported from Pakistan. So I think incubators also have a job to find out those particularly markets. For example, Europe is moving to hydrogen. They are getting rid of the natural gas. Europe is getting rid of the gas boilers. There will be millions of boilers every year. So there are opportunities that create as well. The social impact is not just because I'm going to build a business and I must look at the social impact. I can also look at the problem that I can solve that also have a social impact baseline in there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have further 4 questions, but before we go into that, I can see the timer over there. I have 6 questions on my screen as well, which is from the startups or from the audience. So I believe those questions should be addressed before we actually, if we have the time, then we can go into my questions. Otherwise, this question is not actually directed to anyone, so whoever feels that they can actually respond to this correctly and in a better way, please do that. So the question is from the audience, how crucial are timelines for the startup's success? Do you believe setting aggressive short-term goals to accelerate growth is a smart strategy, or does it risk burnout and unsustainable execution? Who would want to answer that? Raise your hand. I'm just joking, you can just answer. You don't have to raise your hand.
I think I can go ahead and probably you guys can add to it later. I think one of the most critical factors to a startup success is your time to launch. So, if you're going to sit on a product, you will not be able to validate it. So launching and working on aggressive timelines is pivotal to you deciding if you have to pivot or if you have to continue with the same product or service. So that's my take on it. So I think aggressive timelines are very crucial for a startup success. Launch as soon as you can build an MVP, even if it's like a very basic product.
Can I?
So you want to add something?
Just want to give an example from.
So you're not audible.
Can you just sustainable development there? How quick you can come forward is in Germany, for example, they made a law that every end of the year, companies should submit how much CO2 they have reduced. From this, a young lady, created an idea to measure in the buildings with the help of some technical things and made a startup. And this startup has now so successful in Germany because that was targeting one of the SDG goals, and green financing is available successfully in Germany. So now what she's doing, she got for the next round to expand her product in other European countries, 37 million euros. So last time as I came to Pakistan, I also evaluated that where the Pakistani banks, they have developed instrument to support these kind of startup in Pakistan. I don't know what the situation now, but there's a huge money available also for those startup creating social impact.
Thank you, sir. Since we are out of time, so we are just going to request them for 5 more minutes because we have like 3-4 more questions. My request to the panelists is please be short and crisp. The next question is for Dr. Suhail. It's from Hira. How do incubators evaluate their own effectiveness in supporting startups beyond seed funding? And what metrics or KPIs do they use to measure their impact? Dr. Saab.
I think it's a very important question because you are thinking KPIs, and so you're thinking, how do I measure my performance? It will, you have to be very careful that are you looking at input or are you looking at output? And it depends upon sort of the maturity of the start of the incubator that you would be talking about, okay, we have started so many things or we have had so many competitions, everything that sort of stimulates activity. But as you grow in maturity level, then you're going to be looking at, okay, how many jobs did we create? And so typically you would want to create a dashboard that has a mixture of input and output, and you would be then be looking at sort of a balance between the two and identifying where are you in your journey of an incubator and which ones you want to pay more emphasis to. But definitely have indicators.
Thank you. From the screen, it looks like Hira has another question, and I don't think she likes me as the moderator. I think she wants to be the moderator. So she has another question. New tech for Ms. MC, please. This question is for you. What are some key challenges that startups typically face after securing seed funding, and how can incubators help them overcome these hurdles?
Number one thing is how to manage your investors. Nowadays, you don't only need to manage your startup, but you also have shareholders. So how is going to be that relationship with those shareholders and how smart you are in order to actually leverage on those ones, because your success is their success. So that's one. The second thing that changes is also in the team. Because before, at the very beginning, the team, some are compensated, some no. Now there's some capital injection, and it's how can we be wise to do the capital injection in a way that will allow us to move from one stage of development to the next one. And then the third one is, once you start, rarely you will stop. So in the next 18 months to 24 months, you need to be ready again for fundraising or for any capital injection. So you will, especially as the founders, you will be literally managing your business, but at the same time, you will also need to think about how well it needs the company, the startup to be in order to have the better chances to secure funding in the next round.
Thank you. Hira, you have another question, but I'm not asking that. You're trying to take over my job. I'm sorry. So then I'm skipping that because we have to just wrap this up. The next question is from Dr. Taskeen, BIC, Fatima Jinnah Medical University. She's asking, how is technology disrupting traditional investment models and what opportunities it can provide? It is not directed towards anyone, whoever feels can answer that. But please be short. We'll just take 2 more questions. No one wants to reply?
Can you repeat? Are you... How is technology?
Technology, it's on the other screen now, but the question is, how is technology actually defining the current business scenario? Is it like...
Yeah, so overnight, AI has taken over, so it would be cliche to say that build AI as a module into every single business aspect of yours. But yes, that is how technology is now shaping up, conventional businesses. It has become a core component of every single business that operates today. And this evolution has been so fast-paced that, yes, that it's phenomenal. Earlier I was hearing somebody, the journey from a horse car to a car it took them probably, centuries. But this evolution in technology taking over businesses is happening over weeks, months. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I also give a short answer? Because as I said before, Germany is going really transition to that automation models are being applied in the industry to receive more effectivity, for example, productivity and competitiveness.
So can you be a bit closer to the mic? You're not audible that much.
Yes, so companies want to adopt and deploy this technology to become more efficient, productive, and competitive. And around 60-70% of the companies still not able to deploy this technology because they do not have confidence in this large language model because they create hallucination problem, and I think over time as this technology is developing, but as he said, there's no way you should be able to deploy this technology to become or remain competitive in the market.
Thank you. Well, before we wrap this up, I would actually request, starting from MC, just in 10 seconds, what would be the key takeaway that you would actually want to give to the startups and to the audience that they can actually build on that?
That most important than building your business is building your mental health. This is a roller coaster. This is a journey that is super difficult, and very few people actually take care about themselves.
Thank you. Zulfikar sir?
I will have some rebellion advice. I would just say, go outside of Pakistan, build some bigger boats, and go discover like the European did discover Australia and America. Don't just use a small boat going from point A to B.
Khadak sir?
So I'll keep it short, but see, we have to have the end in mind. We have to think about monetization. With some products are very good, but then they fail when it comes to marketing it or getting the right mix. So we have to roll them out quickly. If we have to fail, we have to fail quickly. We have to adapt quickly, and this is the name of the game. I'm pretty sure. For example, WhatsApp, when WhatsApp was being created, somebody else had the better product somewhere else in the world. But some of the companies had a quicker turnaround time, and they were able to be more successful. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Dr. Sir?
Always keep the big picture in mind. Entrepreneurship is not about building one product. It's about building the product, making sure it works all the time, selling it to somebody, getting money for it, and having the next one ready for deployment. So it's a long journey, it's complex, keep the big picture in mind.
Asim sir?
Yeah. So if you're operating in Pakistan's ecosystem, you already have the 2 core ingredients, grit and perseverance. And I think if you're doing well, should focus on scaling globally.
Sir?
Pakistani startups should follow regularly international technical trends and try to adopt, implement what is in the market. So I had 2 very good examples in Pakistan that they can do it.
Thank you. Well, I get to speak as well now. I've been asking questions and everything, and I would like to give you my takeaway as well. Consistency is the key to success. Trust me, I am sitting in front of you. Me being sitting here is not less than a miracle. The kind of journey that I've been through, I've failed a lot. A lot of people are actually scared of failure. Failure is just a part of the game, trust me. You learn from it. It is not something that you should be scared of and you should give up. My personal opinion to you, my 2 cents would be to you, go out there, do as much crazy things as you can. People are going to criticize you, but they will never tell you that, okay, fine, you're able to do this. Things people tell you that you're not able to do that, make it Show it to them that you can do that. And trust me, God is with you. The world is going to be yours. Thank you very much. Thank you to the wonderful panel. And I hope I did a good job. So like if I did a good job, I really need a round of applause, please. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful session on incubators as catalyst for startups success. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayub Zakori. Thank you so much, Mr. Zulfikar Ahmed. Thank you so much, Ms. Maria Carolina Romero, Professor Dr. Syed Suhail Hussain Naqvi, Dr. Talat Mahmood, Mr. Zishan R. Khatak, and Mr. Asim Ishaq Khan. A big round of applause for each and every one of these individuals. Thank you so much for participating. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we move on towards the epitome of this very event we call ICE 2025. Now imagine this is where it's going to get interesting. This is where we certainly need to brainstorm. We need to think beyond our capacity, because I think most of the panelists, that's what they said. Do not use the boat to go from point A to point B, but rather be in the deep sea. So ladies and gentlemen, first of all, a few instructions as well. But before that, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, that we've reached a much anticipated and thrilling segment of the event that our investors have been eyeing on. Yes, it's time for the investor pitches segment. We are eager to witness the pitches from 5 brilliant potential startups. There are a few instructions to follow. Since there's a dedicated area on my right-hand side and your left-hand side available for pitches, the investors are requested to make it convenient to move to the specified area. Please, can the investors come over here on my right-hand side? We have the table set up and the mics in order they want to ask questions. Yup. Please register yourself as investors by moving to this area. I hope there's nobody from FBR inside this hall, but yes, make it convenient for yourselves. Yeah. The investors are even requested to rank the pitches as per the given evaluation matrix. Each startup will be allowed 15 minutes in total, 5 to 7 minutes for pitches, followed by a question and answer from investors for 8 to 10 minutes. So first, if we can fill up the area with our investors. I do believe, I have a reason to believe that our investors are at the designated area. So ladies and gentlemen, we really need to give these startups a big round of applause as well. We've chosen them out of 50 startups to come over here and present. So I invite the first startup. My Impact Meter founder happens to be Ms. Kaval Chima. She will pitch her startup. My Impact Meter is the first digital charity platform in Pakistan. It is a marketplace in social media for philanthropic impact. It aims to bring simplicity, transparency, and equitability to charitable donations by leveraging technology. So the first pitch for today will be by My Impact Meter. A big round of applause.
Okay, imagine a world where every act of generosity creates real, measurable change. Today, philanthropy is unsystematic, has gaps and inconsistencies. This is Pakistan's first digital charity app, and we have aimed to bring technology on top of this. Sorry, pretty tall. So this is Pakistan's first digital charity app where we have leveraged technology to bring transparency, equitability, and measurement in charitable giving. Next slide. So, I hope my time is not being used, because this is not working. This is actually... बीच में से एक स्लाइड ही कर दो. So restart my timer. This is not the slide, it's the पहले वाली एक और slide है. Problem is okay. Next. Next. All right, so I don't know what happened to the problem slide. I swear it was there. But basically, let me just summarize that for you. In Pakistan, $3 are spent by NGOs to raise $10. So 30% is what NGOs spend. Also, 93% of people who donate have said that they are not sure what happens to their charity. So there's a lack of trust. And in Pakistan, 95 million people live under the poverty line, even though Pakistan is one of the most charitable nations in the world. So there's something missing there. And so we have used My Impact Meter as the first digital charity app. What we have are 4 pillars, and there like slides are missing. Can you go back? Can you go back a slide, please? So it's got 4 pillars, and the first one is that it is a mall of NGOs. It is a marketplace of NGOs where you have 90 plus NGOs from all over Pakistan, where they display their causes and they display their packages, and donors can choose from any cause and any package. The second thing is that we provide aid. Any donor can provide aid to anyone through digital vouchers. So all they need to do is add their CNIC, their phone number, and they can give them a digital voucher for grocery or education or vocational training. And the person gets an SMS, they go to their nearest shop, show the SMS, and get the grocery from any shop anywhere in the country. The third point is that just like you make friends on Facebook and connections on LinkedIn, you can make friends with other donors called Impact Buddies. You can see each other's impact and you can share beneficiaries. And the fourth one is that we've gamified this whole thing. So when you make a donation, you get impact credits. And you get badges, and that really helps us to reduce churn rate and brings repeat customers. So in terms of traction, we have facilitated $343,000 of transactions through this platform already. We've got 90 plus NGOs on the platform. We've got 6,000 commercial schools on the platform. We've got more than 2,000 shops from all over Pakistan, grocery stores from all over Pakistan onto the platform. We have facilitated, already said 343,000, but we also have a revenue of $18,000. We have a 4-pillar product solution where our main customer segment is the donor, which is the donor, they have their own app. But we also have an app for NGOs, which is the MIM NGO app. We also have an app for grocery stores, which is in Urdu, and we have an app for schools. So donors can basically, when they donate, for example, for somebody's education, they can see the result and the attendance of the child, and the child's parents don't get the cash, the school directly gets the money. So it's a completely end-to-end, all of these 4 platforms are integrated with each other. My name is Kamal Chima. My background, I was a global director in a company called Cisco, which is a $240 billion valuation company. I worked in Cisco for 14 years. I was also part of the founding team of a startup in the Silicon Valley, where we raised $96 million in 2 rounds, and now it's valued at $475 million post-money. I've done a bachelor's in computer science. I've done an MBA from Australia and also a degree in social impact from Australia. In terms of our business model, we have, and I don't know what's happening to the slides, but just, I'm just going to take you through the pitch anyway. In terms of, can you go to the next slide? In terms of the market opportunity, we know that the global philanthropic market is a $500 billion market, where $320 billion is just individual donations. If we're even able to capture 0.1% of that market in the next 5 years, that's $320 million right there. So our business model is that we charge 1% for grocery transactions and 5 to 8% for all other transactions, which includes NGOs, which includes educational suppliers, etc. Since pre-launch, I've already given you the traction. Can you go to the next slide? So unlike Kiva, GoFundMe, and others, we have social impact, which creates virality. We have gamified impact, which encourages repeat and reduces churn. And we make everything very transparent. So we are hoping to achieve the network effect similar to platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook, etc. Next slide, please. So my impact meter is clear, differentiators, social networking, and aid through vouchers and gamified impact. Next slide. What we're really excited about our growth strategy right now is that we're piloting with company CSR, where we're asking large five companies, to put money in the wallets of their employees. And so the employees get to choose where their charity goes and where the CSR goes. So it really, encourages employee kind of interaction, employee engagement, and makes it more inclusive for the employees. And in the second phase, they can do that for their customers as well. And it will help redirect some of the marketing funds into good causes. And thank you very much for a very dear friend who actually gave this idea to us. And we're doing lots of other things as well, which I'm not going to go into the detail of. Next slide. We are seeking $300,000 right now, where we want to expand on the product. We want to, we have already integrated with major payment gateways, JazzCash, Bank Al-Falah, Stripe, but we've got some issues there, so we want to, it's completely bootstrapped up until now, so we want to expand the product. Team expansion, marketing outreach, all of this, by the way, has been done without any marketing, any dollar spent on marketing. We've acquired these 30,000 customers without any marketing. And our operations. Next slide. That's it. So join us on our journey, and thank you very much for listening to my pitch, although it was a little botched.
Thank you, Kawal, for the pitch. Over to you, panel, for the Q&A. We have 10 minutes for the question answers.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to start with say congratulations. Really fantastic to see something so impactful. And your background is really, something to be really admired and inspirational for so many. So well done. Great traction. Really like it. Love what you're doing. Super important. Question for you. Do you know Launch Good?
Yes.
Okay. And what are your thoughts? Because you talk about you becoming a global platform. How do you kind of consider yourself against Launch Good?
So Launch Good and we are, both of us have like a marketplace of NGOs, but what they don't have is this gamified impact. They don't have a social networking. They don't do aid through digital vouchers. So that's kind of what differentiates us from Launch Good. Our business model is pretty much the same, where they charge 8%, we charge 8%. So that's where we have some parity.
And your vision is to go global, right? You say
global, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Super. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As of today, the traction, I want to understand more. Like, where are you getting the traction from? Does that actually match your, your ideal customer profile? You have like two, if I understood you correctly, two targets. One is the NGOs, and the other one is individuals itself. So I want to understand, based on what you have thought with the team, where do you see the growth coming in and the scalability of your platform?
So the traction that we're getting, we are getting it from mostly high net worth individuals in Pakistan. And let me tell you a very beautiful story that I did not know we had we have this value proposition that I didn't know about, and I found out from a high net worth individual. So this person comes to me and he says that, I want to put 3 crore rupees in your wallet, in my wallet. And I was like, okay. So he just gave us a check. And what was the reason for that was because normally these high net worth individuals don't do charity themselves. Their managers do their charity for them. And when they give cash to their managers do pilferage. So they wanted that once they put it in the wallet, the money can't get out. Now it can only be given to charitable causes, and the high net worth individual can just open his wallet, his app, see all the transactions. There are bar graphs, charts, through which you can see where you're giving. You can see what percent. There's zakat calculators. We've really made it very easy for the donor to see everything, whatever is happening. They have a central dashboard. So it's very easy for them. And so then he invited his friends as well. He invited other high net worth individuals to come in. So that's one area. The second one is overseas. People who are overseas want to help people back home, but they don't have an easy way to do
diaspora?
that. Huh?
Meaning diaspora?
Diaspora.
Okay.
So they don't have an easy way to do that. With this app, they can just, in one click, just like they pay for an Uber or a Careem, they can just, with one click, help anybody at home over here. And because we have this Impact Buddies network, people over here add the beneficiaries, share them with their cousins abroad, and then those cousins abroad support them for monthly grocery or monthly education. So that's the second, word of mouth, that type of traction.
So let me rephrase just to see if I understood you correctly. So your main core business is a B2C? Yes, it's targeted to ultra high net worth individuals, and the way for you to scale it is that also diaspora and the networks of these individuals will be tapped into.
Yes,
That's
and
it?
then the NGOs do the marketing for us as well, because there are 90 NGOs. So when they put their causes on, they have like their own app, which is a fund management, donor management system that we've given them. When they put their causes and when they put their packages, they also put it on the social media that now this cause is up. Back to you.
Okay, Kamal, one or two questions. Excellent presentation, very good initiative I'm speaking right now. So first I wanted to understand the cost of transactions, because 1% is what you take, but there is probably, you need a bank's involvement if it's Al-Falah or someone. So there's that percentage, and likely in the same vein, when you talk about NGOs putting up their own causes, they have an operational cost as well. So you said that, generally it takes almost 30% to raise the money. But then we also know that when NGOs spend on charitable causes, a substantial amount is spent on the transmission of the funds. Are you addressing that issue also? Because if you're using NGOs to sort of execute, then that cost is still there.
So right now our bank takes about 2.6%. That's in addition to our 8%. But we're because our volume is increasing, we're renegotiating with the bank. So hopefully we'll get that transaction down, that fee down. However, it's still, NGOs still love us because they have to go and do fundraising events, do a concert, do something like that. And that takes a lot of money. This is just the marketplace where, their causes are up and they don't really have to do anything. It's like free money for NGOs in a way.
I have a question, there are two parts of it. One, is this only people from abroad can actually do charity to Pakistan, or it's the other way around as well?
Yes, so the NGOs and the beneficiaries and the grocery stores and educational institutes right now are only in Pakistan. The donors can be anywhere in the world. Okay. But we do plan to expand to other countries.
Okay, so how do you actually ensure, because back in the days, I'm sure because you've been working with this whole system, this ecosystem for NGOs, 6,000 of them were shut down by the government of Pakistan. And there was a reason behind it, because of the money laundering and the money that was actually going into the terrorism side. How do you ensure that you don't end up facilitating that tier as well?
That is a very good question. And so number one, we only add or allow an NGO to come onto our platform after due diligence and making sure that the government is okay with, they have all the right certificates from the government. So that's number one. Number two is you cannot just give money to an NGO. You have to give it against a cause or a PAC. And they give us a report on what they have done. And that's the reason for bringing technology into it, because we want to make it transparent. So you can not just say, okay, I'm going to give money to Al-Khidmat. Al-Khidmat has to put up a cause or a PAC, and the money goes to that. And then they give us a report on a monthly basis on what happened to that. And we share that with the donor.
Kamal, just one quick question. Do you know how much of that money the NGO uses towards administration? Because that's one of the things people worry about, that the money is actually not used for a cause, but much of it is spent on administration.
Yes, so there are laws in Pakistan where administration, the NGO cannot use more than 35%. But that is not something that we do get the full report on what happened with the money. But normally these laws and their audit is not done by us. It's done by the government. And the government, we only get those NGOs which have all of those government, the ticks from them.
So my question is around the business model. Obviously, you have to be scalable to go global. I think that's the key. But at the same time, your business model in terms of how you're charging 5 to 8%, what have you seen so far? Is there a resistance paying 5 to 8%? 1% is fine for the grocery and shopping, but the 5 to 8%,
yes.
How is it going to work?
So some people do view that as, 5 to 8% because we do have in our FAQs, although when the donor is making the payment, they don't see that because it's all going to the NGOs and then we later invoice the NGOs and they give us our fee. But when the donors go to FAQs and when they see that, we do see that kind of resistance. But globally, there is acceptance for platforms like LaunchGood, and there are other platforms that charge like 12 to 15%. So where our 5 to 8% is kind of less than the global standard in a way.
I just wanted to add something maybe for everyone else's benefit also, like seeing what LaunchGood did was that whilst you started with charities, say if I come up with an Islamic app for children, I could actually put my Islamic app for children up there, and I don't know if as yet you've opened it up for those kinds of opportunities. So it almost becomes a crowdfunding platform for good startups in their really early stages too.
Yes, so we don't have that right now, but we do have NGOs that have put up causes that help small and medium businesses.
Why do they have to be NGOs? Why don't you open it to be anybody that could list their company or idea onto the platform, as long as it's a good
Yes,
cause?
so the reason we didn't do that, and we did think of doing that, but the reason we didn't do that is because of liability issues, and Pakistan has very strict FATF rules and all that. So because of those reasons, we kind of shied away from that a little bit, but I think in the future, when we go global, we will be exploring that
I think it's even worth you speaking to like Ignite and maybe some of the individuals here, because I think that has been a huge success for LaunchGood, I would say, number one. Number two, for LaunchGood, I mean, I talk to them a lot because I'm actually an advisor to them. One of the things I found that was really good when you talked about corporates putting in money, this has been really big for them. Corporates are ultra high net worths who don't know where they want to put their money. So it was a very valid point that you made. And they put their money, and then the distribution happens by basically matching the funding. So if I'm an NGO and I launch an idea, or I'm a startup and I launch an idea, and I'm able to raise a certain amount within a window of 24, 48 hours, you then use the fund pool to match that. I actually think that I should introduce you to the team, and I think you should talk to them.
Because we absolutely plan, when we bring on CSR, we absolutely plan to do things like that, where the CSR money is being used to match, because you have impact credits. So CSR can buy impact credits from normal people, potential customers, and we want to create secondary markets out of those impact credits.
Agree. And
so absolutely.
One last point for you, just because in case I forget it when I see you again. Kareem is, doing remittances now, and the remittances has been a huge part of their success recently. So I would even suggest talking to the Kareem or Genie or other apps that are in the Middle East, where there's a lot of remittance back home, to potentially have your app kind of integrated into their new super app format. But happy to follow up with you on those things.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Last thing I'm going to say is one of our programs, similar to what you're saying, EarnTech Sikor Kamal, where we actually got students off the streets and put them for IT training for 4 months, incubation for 2 months, gave them a laptop and grocery for 6 months, all funded through our donors. And all of these kids, the 120 that graduated, are all earning 60,000, 70,000, 80,000 through freelancing money.
Yeah. Phenomenal platform. Once again, congratulations.
Thank you, investors, for the evaluation. I would request you all to please use the scorecard to evaluate the startup quickly. And thank you, Kawal, for that pitch.
That was very interesting, and that was very wonderfully put up. And now I would want to invite the second startup, New World founder Dr. Naveed Arshad, who will pitch his startup. New World is redefining the electric mobility landscape in Pakistan. And through its swappable battery network and technology ecosystem, New World is providing mobility as a service to electric three-wheeler drivers. Please put your hands together for him.
It's here. It's just here.
Second angle. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Is it fine if I stay here rather than going up? I don't want to fall down. Okay. I'll go in the box or circle. So my name is Naveed Arshad, and together with my co-founder Noman Zafar, we are working on the electric vehicle value chain in Pakistan for many years. And often we used to debate that why Pakistan is not progressing in electric vehicles, what is stopping us? We have so much auto industry and others. And the thing we realize is that probably we need to do something more than just building electric vehicles in order to make sure that these vehicles, and we have an accelerated penetration of EVs in Pakistan. So if we go into the next slide. So we have a wonderful team, 30 plus people right now, and growing at a really amazing rate. Next slide, please. So the target market that we chose was not a hi-fi or luxurious vehicle. It's a very basic three-wheeler that we thought probably gives a massive business opportunity. There are about 2 million of them in Pakistan with a growth rate of 11%, 75% ridership of our females, so it has a great developmental impact as well. Next slide, please. So if you start by looking at the electric vehicle, the efficiency of EVs is amazing. If we get, let's say, 1 kilometer in 20 rupees by a fuel-based three-wheeler, the same vehicle can be run in 5 rupees for a kilometer. But of course, it costs 3x more to buy an electric vehicle. Now, that's not a big problem because the government can provide subsidies, the total cost of ownership is fine. But it's not the only challenge that we have in EVs, especially the commercial ones. If you go to the next slide, there are a number of challenges that we need to cross in order to make sure that these vehicles are in common use. Upfront price is just one. There are several which are internationally known, and some there which are grounded in Pakistan, some of the challenges. Next slide, please. So we developed that rather than going with fixed battery, the first intervention that we did was we developed a swappable battery-based three-wheeler along with our manufacturing partners and developed a whole ecosystem of swappable batteries and vehicles and an IoT network that is fitted with cloud, which can track the vehicle, batteries, and the swapping station in real time. Next slide. But technology is just one part. That is where we thought that the thing is missing. It's not just the technology. We have to create a completely new business model, how mobility is envisioned in the country, as well as the way in which we interact with drivers or prospective drivers that are going to be developing with us. So technology, business, and operations all require a number of innovations that we made. So rather than giving out vehicle or selling vehicle, we thought that why not we just own the vehicle? Why not we own the battery swapping station? Why don't we own the batteries? And just give out the drivers the vehicles as mobility as a service. In simple terms, just rent them out. Next slide. These three things actually solved almost all of the problems that we were facing in bringing the drivers, attracting the people to EVs. Because all of the risk is now on our side, not on their side. And of course, this is just a starting point. The next slide, please. So now if you look at the economics of it, the same 20 rupees with fossil fuel. With the swappable battery base, we have still operational expenses of 4 rupees. We are giving the driver 4 rupees for every kilometer a benefit. So rather than, so he's not putting any money in purchasing the vehicle. Every kilometer he's saving 4 rupees. And for us, the earnings are the in between 12 rupees. So it's all just the energy efficiency we are using to our advantage. Next slide, please. In order to do that was not a it was not an easy thing. We had to develop a EV value chain where we collaborated with companies that are already working in Pakistan.
1 minute, Mark.
Motors and manufacturers, and then we created our own companies. Next, please. We have a number of competitive advantages. We can come back to them. Next slide, please. So we have piloted this for a year. And now we have launched commercially just 2 months ago. And our plan is to go to a very large number. And without any advertisement, in these 2 months, we already have 400 plus waiting list on our list. Next slide, please. So our company, whatever investment we are going to be doing in it, after year 6, we don't need any investment. It will be just on the cash flow that we'll be earning. Next slide. We are also with the climate funds, Green Climate Fund and Mitigation Action Facility. Our project is selected out of 350 projects in MAF. We are the top 6 in that. GCF, we are the first startup anywhere in the world that is going to GCF for a direct funding. And in addition to that, we're looking for some private sector equity capital. Next slide, please. And this is our ask, the yellow line. That's the million. The rest of the things are probably already covered. We already have raised $1.5 million just from local investors in Pakistan. And we have about
You can go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So, Assalamu alaikum. So I know the space very well because I'm very heavily invested across the EV value chain. And one of my companies in the UAE actually does exactly this, battery swapping. We launched with 4-wheelers, we've done 2-wheelers, we're now launching truckers. So this entire value chain system, I love the way you put it together. It showed me that you have really clear sense of understanding. This is a complicated area. Many people have tried, but you identified all of the barriers perfectly. So very nicely and clearly explained. Liked it very much. A question for you. You said, I saw on your slide that GCF have committed 11.5 million. Could you just explain that to me a little bit? And then also in terms of your business model, what wasn't clear to me is, are you buying the vehicles, the tuk-tuk, if that's the right name for them, sorry, and or are you building them, or are you, could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Right. So I'll answer the second question first. So there are already 3-wheeler manufacturers in Pakistan. So we thought that